Radio check, loud and clear. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will be getting underway for qualifying here in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in 29 minutes time. Alright, thank you everyone for tuning in. We've got 1,600 people already tuned into the live stream. That is absolutely fantastic. Currently up on the screen, we have got the end of the free practice 2 timings. This, of course, was the most relevant session for the weekend in terms of practice. Of course, free practice 1, free practice 3, that was with the warmer track temperatures, and free practice 2 was with the cooler track temperatures. And McLaren seemed to have a very big advantage in the... McLaren seemed to have a very big advantage in the hot conditions. In the cooler conditions, not so much, and Red Bull are much, much closer. Okay, where is the Austria F1 streams? You got to get Surfshark VPN, and once you've got that, you search ORF onto Google, and ORF will give you all of the Formula 1 to watch. All right, let's see. If you've got any questions in the chat, then be sure to drop them right now, because, well, while we haven't got too many people on the stream, I should be able to answer most of them. Okay, we got Yuki Tsunoda in the chat here. Great to see Yuki Tsunoda in the chat. Hopefully you can, get close to Max Verstappen today in quali. You should be able to make it through into Q3, and looking good. Okay, Alpine with Merc power unit will be amazing next year. Yeah, well, if the regulations were staying the same, if the aerodynamic regulations were staying the same, then I'm sure the Alpine would be fantastic. However, with the whole regulations changing next year, we have no idea what's going to happen to the Alpines. Okay, my predictions for qualifying. Ooh, this is right. Okay, so I'm going to make my predictions nice and early. I'm going to predict that Hamilton... Okay, no, I'm going to predict that, let's see, Behrman outqualifies Ocon. That's my first prediction. Second prediction is going to be that Piastri outqualifies Norris. And my third prediction is going to be one of the rookies causes a red flag. Those are my 3 predictions for this qualifying session. Let's wait and see what happens. I think, Norris was quicker in FP2 and in FP3 right at the end of the session. However, I think Piastri did have the edge over him in terms of not making the mistakes. Norris did put together a better lap at the end of FP3 and at the end of FP2. However, he was making quite a few mistakes here and there in the first sector and in the middle sector as well. So I think if all things put together, once, the final pressure of Q3 comes around, my bets are on Oscar Piastri. Okay. Let's see, what else have we got to talk about? Well, what do you think about Audi next year? I think Audi should be doing quite well, honestly. They will have a good chance of doing well, but we really don't know until they actually make a debut out in 2026. Okay, so just to talk about Behrman a little bit more. He, of course, made his debut here in Jeddah 2024, stepped in when Carlos Sainz had appendicitis with only he had 3 hours of notice, 40 minutes of practice, and then he went straight into qualifying. And he's reflected on that experience a little bit, and he says that his performance from last year makes him feel like an absolute idiot. And, bit of a strange choice of words, but what he was referring to is that the racing lines that he was taking last year in the 2024 car in the Ferrari are totally different to what he's taken in the Haas. And of course, the ones that he's taken in the Haas this year are much quicker than the ones that he was taking last year. So I think that... Behrman has made some good progress in the past couple of races. He's doing quite well, actually. He unfortunately has scored less points than Ocon so far in the season. However, I think overall he will be able to reel Ocon in and may even outqualify him today. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Also, let me know what you think. Who do you think is going to score more points by the end of the season? Do you think it's going to be Isaac Hadjar that's going to score more points, or will it be Liam Lawson? Now, of course, both of them probably going to be driving the RB car right till the end of the season. So I'm not sure. Hadjar seems pretty promising at this current moment, but will Lawson be able to come back at him? Who will end up scoring more points? Not sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying Hadjar here, and I'm a Kiwi and Lawson is just losing his brain. Yeah, Lawson hasn't had the best of starts to his career, and to be honest, Red Bull didn't really give him the best of starts to his career. They put him alongside Max Verstappen as his teammate. Like, it was never really going to go well. As a rookie alongside Max, it's a career-ending decision. We've seen that happen before. Stoffel van Dorn made his way from Formula 2. He won all of the junior formulas, was touted to be the next big thing. Went alongside Fernando Alonso in McLaren at 2018, got out-qualified every single weekend. That was it. Career over, and he's never stepped foot in Formula 1 ever again. So, it's a big ask to put a rookie up against a world champion, and clearly it hasn't worked out well for Lawson. Okay. What are your thoughts on Doohan so far? Has Fabio done with him, or will he be around for next year? Well, Doohan's actually made some pretty good steps this season. Like, of course, here currently in the FP2 times, he's down in 17th place, but at the start of FP3, he was putting in some solid laps. And I think Gasly is really standing out. Like, we know Gasly is a fantastic driver on a good day. Like, when his form's perfect, he's right up there competing at the top, and he's really extracting the maximum out of the car, sometimes even more than the maximum out of the car. So comparing him against Doohan, slightly unfair, but even then, Doohan hasn't been doing badly. So, maybe this weekend at a difficult circuit like the street circuit here, he may not do as well. But I think across the whole season, Jack Doohan should have a good enough performance to keep his seat for next year. But there's always the lurking behind, will Colapinto join the Alpine team? And we don't really know. I think if Doohan does have, like, his performances get worse and worse throughout the season, and he doesn't manage to catch up to Gasly, then there's a strong case for Colapinto joining the team. But I think as of right now, Doohan is doing all right for the start of his career in Formula 1. Okay, thoughts on Max's exit from RB? Well, I don't think Max is going to be exiting a Red Bull in 2025. I think he's going to, well, obviously he's not going to exit in 2025. He's going to continue on for the rest of the season because that's his best chance to win the championship. For 2026, it's a little bit of an unknown because, well, Red Bull aren't the most confident in their engine, and Max Verstappen, he has the ability, he has the skill, basically Max Verstappen right now is arguably, or if not quite certainly, the quickest driver on the grid, which means that any team that he gets on the phone with, I think they would all just bend over backwards, and then they'll be like, yeah, Max, come join the team. We'll pay, however many million to Red Bull to break your contract. Come join our team, please. And so Max Verstappen really just has to ask. He has to wait, I guess, till 2026, find out which team is the fastest, and then whichever team it is, he'll get on the phone immediately. Please, can I join your team? And that team is going to say yes. Like, why would they say no? So I don't know about if Max is going to exit Red Bull this year. Like, he's definitely going to stay with Red Bull till the end of this season. Next season, a little bit up in the air. After that, though, if Red Bull aren't competing as the fastest car on the grid, then I'm sure Max will leave. Like, I don't think there's much question about it. Okay. This track must be considered one of the tough tests for all of the rookies. It's so unforgiving. Indeed it is. It is, a street circuit, but it's one of those high-speed street circuits. It's like, say, it's as high speed as, but like Belgium, like Spa, that's how high speed it is. There's loads of high-speed corners, medium-speed corners, but in Spa, you've got loads of runoff. You've got, so much margin for error that if you do make a mistake, you'll go off into the gravel trap, that'll be okay. You won't damage the car too severely. Here in Bahrain, you make a little mistake and into the wall you go, and that is the end of your session. That's the end of your qualifying. So it's a tricky one, really. And yeah, it will be one of the toughest circuits for the rookies to drive up. Everyone's talking about McLaren, Oscar and Lando, but watch out for Russell. He may have a Damon Hill style type season and get the championship. Yep, George Russell, bit of a dark horse. I've been saying this for a while now, but he is currently 4th in the standings, and it is looking, well, he's actually not that far behind. He's only 6 points behind Max Verstappen, and he's only 16 points back. Is that 16 points? No, he's 14 points back, sorry, from Lando Norris, who's in the championship lead. So he's really not that far off. And he's got we've had, 4 races this year, and he's got 3 podiums so far. And yeah, George Russell doing fantastically, really. So yeah, I would not count him out. The current championship fight looks to be Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Russell. So who knows what will happen. And, Red Bull planning to bring upgrades next weekend. I don't know if Mercedes are bringing upgrades, when they're bringing upgrades. I haven't heard any rumours about that. McLaren have brought some small tweaks to their car for the diffuser and for the rear brake duct this weekend, but nothing major. So yeah, we shall wait and see. If Red Bull can bring out a huge upgrade package that leapfrogs them up the field, then maybe that'll spice things right up. If Mercedes can bring an upgrade package and get it to switch on and upgrade and start working immediately, that's the issue that's plagued them, really. They'll bring upgrade packages, but it takes them about 2-3 races before they can actually extract all of the pace out of the car, because they just can't understand the upgrade package very quickly. But if they can sort that out, then Russell is in with a great shot of potentially fighting for this championship. We haven't seen Russell in a championship battle either, so that will be fascinating to see how George Russell handles all of the pressure and the eyes on him from all the media and all the fans. To be fair, Max is the reason Red Bull is bad today. He drove so good for so long, they didn't pay attention to the downgrading updates to the car. Yeah, it was that was part of the reason why the Red Bull. Well, I think also it was the sort of philosophy of Red Bull of, oh, Max is doing okay, so we'll just continue on. But yeah, when Sergio Perez started saying to the team, we have got major issues here, you need to fix this, and they kind of just ignored him. That was also the team's fault. If they listened to Perez and also listened to Verstappen at the same time, then they probably could have avoided a lot of these issues, but they didn't. They just listened to Max and they were like, oh, Perez, you'll catch up soon enough, don't worry about it. And Ferrari really fight with McLaren, Merc and Max later this year. Well, Ferrari still are yet to get a podium this season. They haven't gone on to get a podium. And, unless their upgrade package can work, if they bring an upgrade package and it works, then then they could fight. Fred Vasseur has said Ferrari haven't managed to extract everything from the car this season. So let me just get the exact quote up. But yeah, Ferrari hasn't got the best out of its car yet, says Fred Vasseur. So there's still a little bit of time, maybe they've got some more things to change in their setup to really dial the car in. But clearly Hamilton's having some sort of issues, so maybe Leclerc's also having some issues that we aren't really seeing at the forefront. And if they can figure out the issues for Hamilton, that might also help Leclerc increase his pace. Not really sure what's going on down at Ferrari, but I don't know, it seems very frustrating as a Ferrari fan, as a former Ferrari fan, let's say, because I supported them when Vettel was there. Ferrari, since 2007, 2008, they've always had a car that has been basically second best. It's second best or third best at most. And the only exception I can think to that is the 2020 season when they were probably fourth best. But apart from that, it's been a long, long while since Ferrari have been competitive. And well, they've been competitive, but right at the top. And I don't know how Ferrari do it. They're always consistently second or third best. And it's always next year is our year. And yeah, the Ferrari fans, really do have a tough season ahead of them. Especially the Lewis Hamilton fans as well. Looking at this times from FP2, that gap between Leclerc and Hamilton, 0.6 of a second. It got a little bit closer in free practice 3, but nonetheless, it wasn't that much closer, and there's still a huge margin for Hamilton to close up. Williams' chances on this track are looking pretty good here. Williams and Alpine, I think, will be going some good performances, mainly because this circuit sort of requires a very high aerodynamic efficiency. So, at Monaco, you need maximum downforce, and there's nothing else, no other questions asked about your aero package. At Monza, you want minimum drag. It doesn't matter what your downforce levels are, just minimum drag, and you'll be great at Monza. Whereas at this circuit, you need the downforce in the high-speed corners, but you also need the top speed through all of the straights, and there's a lot of straights. The drivers spend around about 70% of the lap or 75% of the lap, depending on the car, at full throttle. So the speeds down the straight are very, very critical. So aerodynamic efficiency, the amount of downforce you can get while having the least possible drag, that is what aerodynamic efficiency is. And well, Williams and Alpine have a fantastic have a very efficient car. So I suspect they'll be doing well. Williams finally, I mean, Sainz has finally, got to grips with the Williams car. It looks like he's on par with Alex Albon now at the end of FP3. So once we get to qualifying, which will be in 15 minutes time, I think that Sainz and Albon should be right on par with each other. Okay, currently up on the screen we've got the free practice 2 timings. We'll have the qualifying timings come through in just a second. In fact, let me have a look. Have the qualifying times come through just yet? No qualifying times just yet. We'll get the FP. They'll come through in about 4 or 5 minutes time once we're 10 minutes away from the start of the session. Commentary guy, who is your favourite driver and why? My favourite driver is Seb Vettel. Why? Maybe because he won the first race that I ever watched of Formula 1, but also he just seems like a really nice, likeable guy, to be honest. I don't think anyone can really disagree with that. And if you say that you're not a Sebastian Vettel fan, then everyone's a Sebastian Vettel fan. And even if they say that they're not, they are. So yeah, I'd have to disagree with you there. All right. Let's see then, what else have we got to talk about? I'd say the Saubers are a bit interesting this weekend. They've got astonishing levels of top speed. They're the quickest team down the straights, 337 kilometers per hour. But of course, that compromises them in the high-speed corners, where they've got the lowest speed through the high-speed corners, mainly because they don't have enough downforce on the car. They've took all the downforce off to make sure that they've got good amounts of top speed, which should help them with the overtaking tomorrow. However, once we get to managing the tires and the cars sliding around under race loads, then it might be a bit of an issue for the Saubers. Okay. There needs to be a header on your stream stating your favorite driver. It's asked at least 10 times every stream. Yeah, I mean, I know, a lot of yeah, I think it's a fair enough question, isn't it? But I don't know where I'd put it on the screen. Maybe I'd just have it scrolling across the bottom. My favourite driver is Seb Vettel. But okay, so just looking at a replay here, we've got we're looking at the telemetry, from free practice 3, and what we see is that Piastri has an 11 kilometer per hour advantage through the minimum speeds of turn number 4. So turn number 4, a medium to high speed corner, and because the the McLaren has got a significant downforce advantage through the medium speed corners, what happens is they can just carry much more minimum speed through there, and Leclerc is 11 kilometers per hour slower through turn number 4 than Oscar Piastri is. And then as they go through turn number 5, 6, 7 and 8, there are a couple of corners where Piastri doesn't have to lift, or he only has to lift about 5% off the throttle, whereas Charles Leclerc has to do a much bigger lift. And that sort of that effect of having to do a much bigger lift sort of combines down the following straight as well, because you've got a lower exit speed, and a lower exit speed means a lower straight line speed by the time you go down the straight. So it's a difficult one, and we'll see what the Ferraris can do to deal with that. Okay. We've got 4,000 people tuning in to stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. It goes a long way to telling the YouTube algorithm this is a good stream. I also do have a couple of people do mention at the end of FP3 that I do end the streams immediately, and I thought I'd give you guys a bit of a reason why I end the streams basically as soon as the session finishes. And that's just because the YouTube algorithm monitors how many people are watching your stream, and if suddenly it sees a bunch of people leaving your stream, then it's oh, this is a bad stream for whatever reason. This YouTuber has got loads of people leaving his stream, he must not be a good YouTuber, and then it sort of puts you down in the YouTube algorithm. So the reason I sort of end the streams once the session finishes, pretty much within 2-3 minutes, it's just because if a bunch of people leave, it's not particularly great for the YouTube algorithm. Yeah. All right, I'll take you through a lap of the Saudi Arabia circuit. So here we go, down the back straight we go. This is towards the final corner. The main thing here when you start your flying lap, have slightly cooler tyre temperatures, slightly under the operating window, because the first sector is extremely hard on the tyres. So you want slightly cooler tyres as you go down here. You do want your brakes warmed up though, because going to turn number 1, critical that you don't get rear locking. Going to turn number 1, brake at the 100-meter mark, hit that apex, and then drive over the apex for turn number 2, all the way up to the wall for turn number 3. And then you go towards turn number 4. Now, this is where Oscar Piastri has a little bit more minimum speed than the Ferraris, and they go up through 5 and 6 now. And this is the parts where you can hold it flat in the McLaren. In the Ferrari, not so much. You have to do a little bit more lifting, and that's why the Ferraris are slower, because, you know, they have to lift off the throttle. It's fairly self-explanatory. You go towards now turn number 13 here. Very, very long corner, full 180-degree turn, and the drivers take it around 4th gear. And, you know, they just want to get a good exit onto the following straight, because you're flat on the power again for another 4 or 5 seconds while you make your way towards turn number 16. Tap the brakes, flick it right, and again now DRS at this part of the circuit. So there are 3 DRS zones around here, 1 down the main straight, 1 through this part of the circuit. And now you reach turn number 22, which is a very tricky, very high speed corner. You're in 8th gear, you brake down to around 5th gear, 6th gear, and flick the car in. Hope that it sticks. You open the DRS once again for now the 3rd time on the lap, and you make your way down towards the final corner. This is where Max Verstappen had his, ruined his lap in 2021. This is where Yuki Tsunoda crashed in FP2 yesterday, but you keep it going and you get a good exit down the straight, and down you go. Yeah, and that's it. Open the DRS down the main straight and across the line at around 320 kilometers per hour. That is the speed trap speeds that we have been seeing here in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so that's a lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix circuit. All right. Also, I have been sponsored by Surfshark VPN, so I just have to let you guys know that. And if you guys are interested in watching all of the coverage for only $2 a month, rather than the $20 a month or the $30 a month for F1 TV or Sky Sports or whatever it is, then what you got to do is get Surfshark VPN, download it onto your computer or your phone or your TV or whatever, and then you click the Austrian VPN, you join the Austrian VPN, and then you search ORF, or you can download the ORF app, and once you've downloaded that, you can watch all of the Formula 1 coverage for free. So that's how you watch Formula 1 for $2 a month. Okie dokes. What else have we got going on here? Not too much really. The drivers just getting ready to get themselves into the car now, putting their helmets and balaclavas on. We're 7 minutes away from the start of Q1. Okay, is that $2 offer available in Australia? Indeed it is. It is $2 a month. You do have to get like a 12-month contract or a 24-month deal, but yeah, it is the net $2 a month. All right, why is there no... In fact, we have just got the FP... Yeah, we've just got the qualifying data. Let me get rid of the FP2 data here. We've got the qualifying data just coming through. Fantastic. All right. I'm just going to have a quick sip of water. I'll be back in just a second. Okay. So the other thing that the drivers do have to take into account here, well, not really the drivers, the rookies really. There's a lot of G-forces going through the first sector. We see the drivers hit 4-5G as they're going through turn number 7, 8, 9, and incredibly physical. We saw Oliver Bearman, of course, last year he was a Formula 2 driver, had never driven a Formula 1 car in a race before, and he made his way into the Ferrari team after Carlos Sainz had appendicitis, and his neck was having, his neck sort of just gave way after a certain number of laps in the race. So the rookies, we'll see how they deal with that. Of course, they've had to deal with Suzuka so far. Suzuka is very, very physical on the neck as well as you're going through the S section. But yeah, this one's going to be a very physical race. Bahrain, not so much, because Bahrain, there's a lot of straights in Bahrain, so the drivers have a lot more rest period, whereas here in Saudi Arabia, the corners just keep on coming, even if you're not, even if you're kind of on a straight section, like turn number 18, 19, 20, 21, that it looks basically like a straight on the screen, and it pretty much is a straight, but because it's all blind, you have to constantly be alert of you're moving the car ever so slightly left, ever so slightly right, and you've got to make sure that there isn't, traffic behind you, traffic to the left, traffic to the right, and this constant alertness also exhausts the drivers a little bit. Normally you can switch off just a little bit as you're going down the straight, because, you can switch off for maybe 3-4 seconds before you have to start hitting the brakes again, but here in Saudi Arabia, it's constant focus, constant alertness, and the drivers are really pushed to their limits. We've got track temperature that's lowered down now, 38 degrees track temperature compared to the 49 degrees track temperature, and yeah. We now have Surfshark. So how do we watch it live? You just search ORF onto Google, and then once you search ORF, you can click on the link, make an account, and then you get Formula 1. Okay, what other tracks are neck bending? Well, let's see. There is, I can say for a certain fact, Qatar, very, very difficult on the drivers in terms of a physical sense. And let's have a look at the calendar. Spain as well. Spain's got loads of super long corners. That's pretty tough on the drivers. And Kota's first sector, that's, the Kota first sector, it's S sections, but, in Suzuka, you're going through the S's, maybe 4th, 5th gear. In Kota, you're going through the S section at 6th, 7th gear. So, yeah, Kota's S section's pretty tough on the driver's necks as well. All right, we are 3-4 minutes away from the start of qualifying. We've got 18 minutes of a qualifying session for Q1, 15 minutes for Q2, and 12 minutes for Q3, just the standard qualifying session. Okie dokes. "27 corners, is this the most in the season?" Yes, it is. However, I'm going to be totally real with you here. There are 27 corners, but are they really 27 corners? Because I counted this in FP1, and I'll go through the corners here with you. But turn number 1, turn number 2, fair enough, those are real corners. Turn number 3 as well, that might be considered a real corner. In the wet conditions, it probably isn't flat. Then turn number 4, corner 5, 6, 7, 8, they're all corners. But 10 and 11, let's just have, they are not corners. Like, let's be real here. 10 and 11, not corners. Then 14, also not really a corner. 15, also not really a corner. 16 is for sure. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, also they are definitely not corners. They are just the minor little kinks in the road. And same thing for 26. 26 also isn't a corner. So really, there are 27 corners, but you can take away 9 because 9 of them aren't particularly real. And yeah, that brings you down to 18 corners. Mr. V's Garage would be proud. Yeah, I saw that video where he ranked every single corner. I mean, I think that's pretty wild, to be honest. But yeah, what's the optimal track temp on this circuit? Optimal track temp would probably be around 30 degrees, maybe even slightly cooler, because the Pirelli have brought really soft tyres this weekend. So we are going to have a 2-stop race tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, because Pirelli last year, they brought the C4, the C3, and the C2. However, this year they brought the C5, the C4, the C3. So 1 step softer tyres, which means that we're going to have a lot more tyre wear. And yeah, a lot more tyre wear means 2 pit stops. Okay, what do you think about Ollie Birdman? I think Ollie Birdman is a fantastic driver. I think he's going to out-qualify Esteban Ocon today. That's my prediction. All right, got 8,000 people tuned into the stream. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Hopefully we can make our way towards 147k subs today. And we have got 1 minute 30 left till the start of the session. Okie dokes. Fantastic, fantastic. Right. Here we go then. Let me know who you think is going to get eliminated in Q1. Is it going to be... I think, unfortunately, as much as I love Fernando Alonso and the Aston Martins, I don't think they're going to be doing particularly well today. Their straight line speed has been lacking for quite a while, and... yeah, straight line speed is quite important at this circuit, so I don't know what's going to go on here with the Astons. Also, we've got all of the drivers lined up at the end of the pit lane here. They're all lining up at the end of the pit lane for one sole reason, to cool down their tyres. We've got the Saubers, the Williams, the Alpines, the Aston Martins. They're all lined up right at the end there, just sitting with their engines off to have to let their tyres cool down so they can actually get a quick lap done in Q1. Alright then, let's wait and see what we have starting very, very shortly then. 20 seconds till we get underway, and about half the grid is already lined up at the end of the pit lane. The other half will be making their way out very, very shortly. Okay, so there we go then. Let me get rid of this countdown timer here on the right hand side of the screen, and we'll have the green flag coming out very, very shortly. And yeah, you can see 15 seconds, 20 seconds as the radio messages coming through, and I'll have a green light in just a bit here. There we go, green light is out, and Saubers are at the front of the queue. Bortoletto and Hulkenberg will be making... oh, actually, it's not the Sauber. Esteban Ocon is at the front of the queue. Never mind. And soft tyres, as expected, everyone will be out on the soft tyres. Here we go then. Okie dokes. We got the wind has died down a little bit, 4.3 kilometers per hour. Track temperature down to 38 degrees from the highs of 50 degrees this morning. Air temperature 29.2 degrees, so a little bit cooler, but still fairly intense race for here for the drivers. And they're going to have to, their drinks bottles are going to have to be full, so they don't get dehydrated while they're taking part in QUALI. F1 Gamer, are we sure that Hamilton wasn't swapped with Richard Hamilton because the performance feels like Richard Hammond felt like Richard Hammond's driving? I don't think it is. I don't think Richard Hammond's driving, but mainly because if Richard Hammond was driving, he wouldn't be able to see over the steering wheel. So Hamilton is being able to see over the steering wheel, so that's why I can say for a fact that Richard Hammond isn't driving. And I'm sure if Richard Hammond was driving, he would have crashed the car by now. So, yeah. All right, we've got half the grid out onto the track right now on a set of soft tyres, doing their first runs in Q1. Yuki heard that, indeed he did. Okay, but this is all in good banter here from Top Gear. I'm sure many of you will know of Top Gear. All right, I'm going to reset the fastest lap counter here. We had Oscar Piastri with 3 fastest laps here in FP3. And yeah, that's what I was just saying. Lando did top the times right at the end, but Oscar Piastri was consistently setting quicker times than Norris for most of the session until the very end. Maybe we'll see that happen in QUALI. Oscar's top in Q1, Q2, and then Norris somehow ekes it out in Q3. Or maybe we'll see Max Verstappen hook together a sensation lap, because there is one little inkling of hope here for the Red Bull team. And let me just explain what that is. So the inkling of hope for the Red Bull team is that here at Saudi Arabia, the circuit is very, very smooth. It's the exact opposite of Bahrain, right? Bahrain, the track was, the asphalt on the surface was more than 18 years old. It was older than Kimi Antonelli, right? Here in Saudi Arabia, it's a new circuit, and it doesn't see much use. It's only really Formula 1 cars that race here, Formula 2 sometimes, and the Formula 1 Academy. But apart from that, it doesn't really see much use. So the track surface is super silky smooth, and the cars can run very, very low to the ground, and the Red Bulls are able to close the gap to the McLarens when the ride heights get very close to the ground, and they can slam the cars as close to the ground as the teams are allowed. Then the gap between the McLarens and the Red Bulls gets a lot smaller. So because of that, Max Verstappen does have a chance. If he can hook together a perfect lap, but potentially like Saudi Arabia 2021, then he could, go on and steal pole position from the McLarens. We'll just have to wait and see. Red Bull were planning on bringing upgrades this weekend. They unfortunately didn't manage to bring all of the upgrades, and they only have a tiny little tweak, I think, to their beam wing or something at the back of the car. But apart from that, no major upgrades for the Red Bull team. Next weekend, or in 2 weekends' time in Miami, we will have upgrades for the Red Bull team. All right, we've got Behrman up into first position. Look at that. He's 8 tenths ahead of Esteban Ocon. What a lap here from Oliver Behrman. Doing across the line, 17 milliseconds ahead of Behrman. Nicely done there from Jack Doohan. We've got Lando Norris on a flying lap. Let's see what he can do, but he is looking extremely racy, is Norris. All right, looking good here. Hulkenberg across the line, he goes a tenth quicker than Jack Doohan. Bortoletto across the line, 4th place for him. Track evolution will be key here, ladies and gents. The track will be getting quicker and quicker as the session goes on, so we'll have to keep that in mind. And we've got Alex Albon across the line. He goes up into first place. Lando Norris is purple in the first sector. Now here he comes now through the middle sector. What can he do? Sainz across the line, 5th place for him, 3 tenths behind Alex Albon's time. We'll hope for Sainz and the smooth operator to close that gap up. Gasly comes across the line, 2nd place for him. He's 2 tenths back from Albon, and yeah, the Alpines not looking as good as the Williams. We'll wait and see what can happen there. Fernando Alonso with a great lap. The Aston Martin is a bit of a tractor this season, and with a slower top speed than Pierre Gasly, he manages to stick it up into 2nd place. Stroll across the line, 5th place for him, and now we've got Lando Norris. All eyes are on him. Purple in the first sector, purple in the 2nd sector. Here he comes out of the final corner. DRS flap is wide open, and across the line, purple in all 3 sectors. 9 tenths of a second ahead of the Williams. 9 tenths of a second. Huge gap, huge. Now, let's just wait and see what the other top teams can do. We've got Leclerc and Hamilton on flying laps. Max Verstappen and Tsunoda are on out laps. Leclerc across the line. He goes 5 tenths back from Lando Norris. Let's see what Lewis Hamilton can do. The gap between those two drivers has been 6 tenths all weekend long. Across the line he comes. The gap has now been reduced from 6 tenths to 4 tenths. Let's hope that can continue reducing while we make our way towards Q3. And Verstappen starting his flying laps. Let's wait and see what he can do through the first sector. He's got Norris up ahead as traffic, I'm sure, will get out of the way nicely. He does not want a grid penalty coming his way. And Verstappen is pushing that Red Bull pretty good. He's not, all the way on the limit just yet. Of course, he's got to build up to this, build up to the perfect Q3 time. But through the first sector, he's only 4 milliseconds down on Lando Norris's time. 4 milliseconds. The margins are very, very close here. And we have had our first track limit deletion here, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Doohan has got a lap time deleted for exceeding track limits at turn number 2. This was on his slow lap, so it doesn't matter, but nonetheless, I will keep you up to date on track limits deletions because they are going to be quite critical to quali around here. We will see a couple more laps getting deleted. Oh, and that Red Bull is so close to the ground, sparking away like crazy, and he's only 14 milliseconds down on Norris's provisional pole position time here. So looking really good from Max Verstappen as he comes towards the final corner, and that Red Bull is so close to the ground, but it seems to be working well. As long as they don't get disqualified at the end of Sunday, he should be good to go. Out of the final corner he comes, opens that DRS flap across the line for Verstappen, and it's 2nd place, 1 tenth back from Norris. But look at this, Yuki Tsunoda was purple in the middle sector. That's quickly been taken away by Oscar Piastri, but Tsunoda's on a good lap here, ladies and gentlemen. Piastri is 2 milliseconds down on Norris's middle sector time as he comes through that middle sector. Comes through turn number 24, and here comes Yuki Tsunoda. What can he do across the line? And it's 3rd place. Oh my goodness me. He's only 3 tenths back from Max Verstappen. Great progress there from Yuki Tsunoda. And Piastri goes across the line. 7 milliseconds between the two McLaren drivers. Oh my goodness me. It is so close there. George Russell, though, goes purple in the middle sector. He might ruin the McLaren's fun, and he might ruin their 1-2. In fact, it's a 1-2 for a McLaren, 3-4 for a Red Bull. It's been a long time since we've seen something like this, and let's see if George Russell can come and spoil the fun. He comes out of the final corner, he opens the DRS flap up to 8th gear, and across the line he splits the Red Bulls. 4th place there for George Russell, and it is Oscar Piastri in 1st, Norris 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Russell 4th, and Tsunoda 5th. Antonelli across the line, 7th place for him. Oh, there's a bit of debris on the circuit. Is it a debris or is it a plastic bin bag? But there's a bin bag on the circuit. I don't know if they're going to deploy a yellow flag for that. But there's something flying around on the circuit. We've got Hadjar and Lawson on flying laps, and Yeah, what a start to this quali session. No, the gap. A lot of you guys watched FP3 and we were like, oh my god, the McLarens are 9 tenths ahead of everyone else, or 6 tenths, or something ridiculous like that. Yeah, that margin was never really all that real. I think McLaren just turned up the engine mode more than everyone else did, and as you can see, the margins are within 1/10 of a second between Max Verstappen and the McLarens. Okay. The last corner is troublesome looking. Yeah, it's not the best corner really. It's the thing is, it's a very long lap here. So the drivers, they know, they can see firstly on their dash how much up they are on their previous time, but they also know within themselves, has this been a good lap or a bad lap? So then once they reach the final corner, there's that little bit of hesitation. It's like, do I go maximum attack and potentially ruin the entire lap by screwing up the last corner, or do I just play it a little bit safe, brake a little bit early, and make sure that I actually complete the lap? So because it's such a long lap, the drivers do have that little bit of hesitation once they reach the final corner, but I'm sure once Q3 rolls around, they're not going to be going yellow through the final corner. They're going to be going maximum attack. Okay. And once again here, look at this. From pole position down to 14th place, the gap between lap times is only 1 second. That's it. 1 second is the lap time gap, which is, ridiculously close. Okay. Oh, we have got Gabriel Bortoleto with the first lap time deleted, the first actual lap time deleted. And he has been, he's been getting a lap time deleted for exceeding track limits at turn number 2, and down into 20th place he goes. We've got Sainz across the line. He matches Alex Albon's time, nicely done, and up into 10th place there for Sainz. Alonso. Wow, what a lap from Fernando Alonso. We know that the Aston is pretty slow in a straight line, but it looks like he either managed to get a tow or he's just reduced the downforce levels on that Aston, because he stuck it up into 6th place with a top speed of 332 kilometers per hour. And in fact, Stroll actually 334 kilometers per hour. So it seems like the Astons have changed their setup in between FP3 and quali. Norris comes across the line, purple in the first sector, purple in the third sector, and he goes 2 tenths quicker than Oscar Piastri on his second run. Nicely done there. I don't know why Norris is doing a second run, because Piastri's into the pits, everyone else in the top 5 is already in the pits. So I guess Norris just had fuel for two runs in his car, and he's decided to do 2 laps, but interesting. There's still 6 minutes 50 seconds left on the clock, so it should be fine either way. Gabriel Bortoleto got his lap time deleted. That's why he was. That's why he dropped down the pack. I think, did Doohan just get a lap time deleted? Oh no, Doohan didn't get a lap time deleted. Ignore that. What is Hamilton doing? Honestly, I have no idea. I've been answering these questions all weekend long. I'd love to give you guys an explanation. Hamilton on a flying lap here. Let's see if he can improve. But he's he's green in the first 2 sectors, so maybe he will. Across the line he goes. It's 10th place for Hamilton, so that's what Hamilton was doing. Just hadn't put a good lap together, and he's only a 10th back from Charles Leclerc. So good improvement there. Leclerc across the line. He doesn't improve on his previous lap time. You think he makes a mistake in the final sector, and that leads him to not improve. So yeah, Hamilton just not able to improve, consistently put in laps. He has just put in a good lap now, so hopefully he can continue doing that. Okay. Also, folks, if you have any of the like button, please be sure to do so. It very much would be appreciated. We've got 20,000 people watching the live stream and only 1,300 likes. In fact, the like target is wrong for qualifying. The like target should be 8,000 likes, not 2,000 likes. So yeah, if you guys haven't hit the like button, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help out the channel. And hope to see you guys around for the race tomorrow. We're going to have a 2-stop race, and with 3 DRS zones, we're going to have a whole lot of overtaking as well. Cannot wait for the race to begin. So yeah, hope to see you guys there tomorrow. Okay, we got Albon here on a flying lap. He's looking really good, having to lift a little bit going through turn number 9 and 10, but that's, as standard. The McLarens have to lift a lot less though. Albon's lifting, say, 50% off the throttle, then McLaren's only have to lift 20% off the throttle as well. So let's wait and see what can happen there. And yeah, Albon put green in the first sector though. Nice improvement. How many laps is the full race? The full race is 50 laps of racing around here. We've got 6.05 kilometre long circuit, which means, yeah, 50 times 6 is 300, and each Formula 1 race is 300 kilometres. Okie dokes. Is the Saudi race normally boring like Japan? Well, given the fact that we have a safety car every single time that we've raced here in Saudi Arabia, I'm going to go with that it is not boring whatsoever. And we've got 21,000 people tuned in to stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're getting into the second runs here in Q1. Just a quick summary of what's gone on. Actually, there hasn't been much of a summary. Everyone's just done their first couple of laps and everyone's looking quite good, to be honest. Hamilton was a bit slow on his first lap, but managed to improve. And Albon's just gone and improved up into 4th place for him. Currently in the elimination zone has got Doohan, Lawson, Gasly, Ocon and Bortoleto. Bortoleto got a lap time deleted, and yeah, soon enough he should be fine to do another lap. Oh, they got a wheel cover stuck. They got a tyre warmer stuck in the Alpine car. Don't know what's gone on there, but yeah, they had to push it back into the garage because they got a tyre warmer stuck in the Alpine car. Which is a bit of a strange one, but the car makes its way back out onto the circuit and they should be good to go. All right, we shall see what's going on here then. F1 Gamer, what are your thoughts on Charles Leclerc winning the championship? Unless Ferrari can somehow get 3-4 tenths worth of pace every single lap, I don't think Charles Leclerc is going to be winning the championship this year. Okay. Here we go then. We've got some flying laps underway. Oscar Piastri's on his second flying lap of the session. Let's wait and see. He's green in the first sector here, looking very, very racy. And he makes his way now towards turn number 19, 20, 21. And yeah, DRS is wide open as he heads his way towards turn number 22. A very tricky corner, but the McLaren surprisingly stable in these high speeds. And yeah, there you go, purple in the middle sector there for Oscar Piastri. And he continues on towards the final corner. Was the stage of the McLaren flexi wing investigation. There is no investigation going on with a flexi wing. McLaren were told you are not allowed to have a flexible wing after the Spanish Grand Prix. And once we get to the Spanish Grand Prix, the flexible wings will be totally banned. As of right now, McLaren are complying with all the regulations and they are good to go from the FIA. Piastri comes across the line. He improves, but he's still a 10th back from his teammate. Yeah, just didn't have a great final sector, to be honest. And yeah, once again, I think that's just a similar thing. His top speed wasn't great there, so maybe his engine started clipping a little early, or maybe it just didn't go full commitment into the final corner. But for now, he improved on his personal best and is a 10th back from his teammate. Alright, we've got Verstappen and Tsunoda out as well. They're improving, but they're also doing this on used tyres, so we'll just like to keep that in mind. Tsunoda's out on a fresh set. Verstappen's out on a used set of tyres. Antonelli on a fresh set of tyres, up into 3rd place. Great lap there from Antonelli, in fact. And we'll see what George Russell can do to reply, but sensationally good lap there. Right, we have got Fernando Alonso on a flying lap. Oh, Alonso purple in the first couple of mini sectors here. It was because he was getting a tow. Alonso was getting a tow off Jack Doohan going down the main straight, and he's got a couple of purple mini sectors. Nice timing there from Alonso. Oh my God, Max Verstappen manages a fantastic final sector and puts himself up into 1st place. He goes 27 milliseconds ahead of Lando Norris. Wow. Oh, we got a yellow flag. Who is that for? Never mind. They've just got rid of the yellow flag, and Bortoleto makes his way out of the 1st sector. So whatever issue it was, that has been cleared up very, very quickly. And yeah, Sainz puts his lap together. He's only 70 milliseconds back from Albon, so very, very close there. And honestly, I'm noticing the fact that I'm using the word milliseconds a lot more than I'm using the word tenths. The drivers are so close to each other. Tsunoda comes across the line. He's 5 tenths back from Max, you know. Just as I say the drivers are so close to each other and I'm having to use milliseconds, Tsunoda comes across the line. He's half a second back from his teammate, but you know, that is expected. Verstappen's a sensational driver. Tsunoda has got a lot of experience, lacking a lot of experience in that Red Bull. Alonso comes across a line. Alonso backs out of his lap, I think. Yeah, Alonso backs out of his lap and gives Stroll a tow coming down the back straight. Then we've got Behrman up across the line, 10th place for him. Great lap from Behrman. Ocon is down in 19th place there. Ocon did his personal best and is in 19th. Behrman up into 10th. Great lap there from Behrman. We've got a flying lap here from Lewis Hamilton. We'll see what happens there. Alonso just goes into the pits because that's the end of his quali session. Stroll, even with a tow from Fernando Alonso, he's green in the final sector, but not enough to get out of Q1. And we've got a final couple of drivers, just the Saubers. If they can make it through, then that'd be great for them, but it's not looking particularly likely. Hamilton across the line, he goes up into 9th position. The Ferrari, and Charles Leclerc's in 13th. I don't know what's going on there with the Ferrari. He's out on a fresh set of tyres as well, and he comes out of the final corner. Is he just going to pit into the... I don't think he's going to get eliminated, so he might as well just come into the pits, really. No need to do another flying lap, and yeah, I think Leclerc's into the pit lane. All right. So that is the end of Q1 here, ladies and gentlemen. The reason we had that yellow flag momentarily was because Bortoleto spun it going into turn number 1, and that's why we had a yellow, but he managed to get it going within the span of about 10 seconds, so no issue there. And yeah, that is the end of Q1. The drivers eliminated are Lance Stroll, Jack Doohan, Nico Hülkenberg, Esteban Ocon, and Gabriel Bortoleto. And look at that, the top 18 drivers are within 1 second of the fastest lap. Max Verstappen in the 1:27.7, last year's pole time a 1:27.4, so a 3/10 off last year's pole time, but the entire, nearly the entire field is within the space of 1 second. And this is a very long circuit as well. It's 6 kilometers long. It's not like Monaco where it's a very short lap or anything. It's an extremely long circuit, and still the drivers are within 1 second of each other. Red Bulls are still fast, let's be honest. Yeah, I think at this circuit here, Red Bull do have a nice advantage. Well, not an advantage compared to Bahrain, but I think the Red Bulls are still pretty quick because they can really lower that car right down. I mean, the amount of sparks coming off Max Verstappen's car was ridiculous, and I'm sort of questioning how much wear they're going to have on their skid plank at the end of the race tomorrow, but yeah, Max Verstappen was going supremely quick down the straights, down through the corners, and that car was sparking away. So that's going to be an interesting one to see what happens there. Okay, we've got 23,000 people tuning in to live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm going to take you through a lap of the circuit, and just before I take you through a lap, I do have to mention I am sponsored by Surfshark VPN. If you guys are interested in watching all of the coverage with all of the the onboards, the cameras and everything for only $2 a month, then you can get Surfshark VPN. There's a link in the description. There's a link in the pinned chat in the comment, pinned chat message. All you've got to do is get the VPN, install it onto your phone, your TV, your mobile, whatever you want, your laptop, and then you join the Austrian VPN and you search ORF. That's the Austrian website to watch Formula 1, and you can get it for free there. All right. We had Albon clip the inside wall here of turn number 22. Is that 22? I think it might be turn number 16 actually. Yeah, it was turn number 16 I think. So I'll take you through a lap and show you where Albon clipped the wall actually. All right, so here we go then. Coming down the back straight, this is the final corner. You just want to get a really good exit here. You want your tyres to be slightly cooler than the operating window, so around about 90 degrees or so, and then by the time you reach the end of the first sector, your tyres will be properly up to temperature. You go down the main straight, open the DRS, drivers reaching 320 k's around here, and slam onto the brakes at the 100-meter mark, hit that first apex. Over the second apex you go. We saw a couple of laps getting deleted here. Bortoleto got his lap deleted on the exit of turn number 2. You go towards turn number 4, you can go right up to the wall there and continue on here. This is where we saw the McLarens lifting a lot less compared to the Williams. Albon here lifting off 50% off the throttle, the McLarens only lifting maybe 20-30% off the throttle. They can just carry much more speed through this part of the circuit. Then you go towards turn number 13 here. Very important to just get a good exit because you're flat for the next couple of seconds, so you hit that late apex onto the power very smoothly, and on you go towards turn number 16. This is where Albon clipped the wall. It was very, very minor, but nonetheless managed to keep it under control there. And we'll have the times have just reset here for Q2, and we'll be getting underway for Q2 very, very shortly. Then you go towards turn number 22 here, and we've got DRS at this part of the circuit as well, I'd like to point out. But turn number 22, you flick the car to the left, stay within track limits, and down you go once again, another DRS. And the circuit is also very, very flat, very, very smooth. So the ride height has basically been reduced to the minimum setting possible. We're getting maximum suction from the floor, and you hit this final apex. Don't crash into the barrier like Yuki Tsunoda did in FP2. Open the DRS flap and come across the start-finish line for a lap of Jeddah. All right, so those are the 3 DRS zones on the circuit. That's a lap of Jeddah, and yeah. We shall be getting underway shortly. Okie dokes. How long till Q2? We are going to have Q2 starting in 1 minute's time. Yeah, 1 minute. We've just got you see the message here, 1 minute 45 to agree. At least that's what it says to Albon, but that means 1:45 to a green light. Yeah, so 1 minute 45 seconds, or if you actually take into account when that message came through, it'll be 1 minute left on the clock. Okie dokes. Why is Leclerc so slow now? It's because Leclerc didn't do his second flying lap. Hamilton did do a second flying lap. Leclerc didn't finish his lap. I think he either made a mistake or just he knew that he was going to make it through into Q2, so he aborted his lap and came into the pits. It's not because Leclerc is suddenly slow or anything like that. What is your opinion? Oh, the fastest lap count. Oh yeah, let me update that. So let me remember. I think Piastri had 1, Norris had 2. Did he? And then, Verstappen had. I think Verstappen had 1, and Norris also had 1. Correct me if I'm wrong though. I will read the chat and make sure that it's correct. I really wasn't. To be honest, I kind of forgot. But here we go. Q2 is underway. We've got Alex Albon out onto the circuit, and we'll have the rest of the drivers making their way out shortly as well. Okie dokes. $22,000 people watching the stream. That is fantastic. Thank you everyone for watching the stream, by the way. Very much is appreciated. What is your opinion on Hamilton's progress? Hamilton's making, solid progress. I would have expected Hamilton to sort of make progress a little bit quicker, but nonetheless, he's making progress, and I suspect in a couple of races' time, he will have fully settled into the Ferrari team. Oh, Norris had 2. Okay, fair enough. Let me just update that on the screen. Yeah, I think he did, but oh well. There we go. 2 for Norris, 1 for Piastri, 1 for Verstappen. All right. What is your opinion on Ollie? Ollie's been doing a fantastic job here. He's been managed to outqualify his teammate again, and he was a significant chunk quicker than his teammate as well. Ocon had a pretty slow lap, and I don't know if that was down to the Haas or just Ocon, but yeah, Ocon not being able to drive all that quickly compared to Behrman. So yeah, good job here from Oliver Behrman. Do you have a tactical assumption of who can get pole today? Oh no, I won't be able to make any predictions. I'm going to say it's just going to be between the McLarens, maybe Russell, and probably Max Verstappen. So that's my prediction. Oh, Antonelli getting very close to hitting one of the McLarens there when he came out the pit lane. But yeah, managed to be all right there. Very, very close though. Both Lawson and Hadjar make it through into Q2. And right, let's have a think then. Who is going to be making it through into Q3? I think it's fairly safe to say that Piastri and Norris will be making it through. I think Verstappen will make it through, so that's 3 drivers. Then Russell for sure. I'm going to go with Tsunoda also makes it through. Antonelli makes it through, so that's 6. Then we have Leclerc and Hamilton. That's going to be 7 and 8. So we've only really got 2 slots left for Q3. Maybe Antonelli doesn't make it through, I'm not sure. Maybe Hamilton doesn't make it through. But I'm going to go with Behrman makes it through. and I'm also going to go with Pierre Gasly. I think, Alonso's done a pretty good lap here, and he's been able to extract some pace out of this Aston that isn't all that quick, but I'm just going to go with Gasly because he's also on form, and the Alpine is looking much better than the Aston Martin is. Albon purple in the first sector, purple in the second sector, looking really, really good as he comes out of the final corner. Just having to stab at the car a little bit as he gets onto the power to keep it under control, but across the line he goes, and it's a 128.5, and look at that, they've timed that lap very nicely, so Sainz will be getting a bit of a tow as Albon comes down the main straight. Good teamwork there from the Williams mechanics and the Williams drivers. We got Piastri out here on a flying lap, and so is Lando Norris. Gasly's purple in the first sector, and Norris, just coming out of the pit lane, Norris is on a flying lap. Piastri, though, is, and right up to the barrier he goes, and Verstappen is a tenth quicker than Piastri in the high-speed corners. So McLaren had the advantage in the slow-speed corners. They didn't have the advantage in the high-speed, and that's, once again, another trend that we're seeing, and Norris quicker in the high-speed, Piastri quicker in the slow-speed. Piastri purple in the first sector, he goes a quarter of a second up on Alex Albon's first sector time. Very, very nice first sector there. 32.001, one of the quickest first sectors we've seen all weekend long. And let's see what he can do. Behrman had a great race. Yeah, indeed he did. His first ever Formula 1 race that he had last year. He had 40 minutes of practice, one qualifying session, and started the race, I think, in 8th place or something, or maybe 11th position, and then managed to score points as well on his debut Formula 1 race. So, yeah, pretty good going there from Ollie Behrman on his first race, and I think he'll do well again. I mean, he's clearly doing well. He's out-qualified his teammate by a huge margin. Okay, Verstappen purple in the first sector takes it away from Oscar Piastri. Piastri is up on Sainz's time, up on Albon's time by quite a margin there. Sainz, in fact, 0.3 quicker than Alex Albon. Nicely done. Piastri across the line, up into first position he goes, and Norris starts his flying lap, also getting a tow from Oscar Piastri. So the McLaren duo is doing exactly what the Williams duo did, and Sainz goes top of the, Piastri goes top of the time, 0.6 clear of the rest of the field. Verstappen, though, is on a flying lap. He's purple in the first sector, 0.3 quicker than Piastri's first sector, so we'll see what comes of that. Antonelli across the line, third place for him, and he is 0.6 back. We got a lap time deleted. Oh no, that doesn't matter. Albon's lap time, that was him coming out of the pit lane. It's a bit of an irrelevant lap anyway. It was an out lap. Russell across the line, second place. Verstappen across the line, first place. What a lap from Verstappen, a 10.5 quicker than Piastri. Now let's see if Norris can beat that. Norris matches Verstappen's first sector time pretty much. He's half a tenth back in the first sector. Let's see what his middle sector time looks like. And we got Charles Leclerc here on a flying lap, coming out of the final corner, right up to the barrier he goes, foot flat to the floor, opens the DRS, up into 8th gear, and across the line in that Ferrari-powered car, and it's 4th place for Charles Leclerc. 4th place. Hamilton is in 5th position. Look at that. Only 0.2 back now. The gap has slowly but surely been closing up, and I feel like Hamilton is finally settling into this Mercedes car. Tsunoda across the line, 5th place for him. The gap between himself and his teammate, 0.6 of a second. Nonetheless, it is better than what Lawson was doing, and I think Tsunoda is going to be staying at the Red Bull team till the end of the season. Norris across the line. What a lap. Half a tenth up on Verstappen, 0.2 up on his teammate, and my prediction at the start of the stream that Piastri is going to go quicker than Norris by the end of the session, that might come out to be untrue here, because Norris is looking real good. Also, I would like to point out here, George Russell's fastest lap was set on a 7-lap-old set of tyres. He's half a second back from Norris and Verstappen and Piastri, but he's on 7-lap-old soft tyres here, and I have a feeling when Russell bolts on a fresh set and hooks together a perfect lap, then he could really spoil the fun for the McLarens, to be honest. Yeah, it would be a very interesting battle. Okay, Lawson also track limits deleted, but it doesn't matter because he got, I don't know why race control keeps sending us messages of lap times that are getting deleted when drivers are on their out laps. Like, he's come out of the pits and then they want to tell me that he's deleted it. He's got a lap time deleted on his out lap. Like, it doesn't matter if it's his out lap, but yeah. So just want to reiterate here, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, they did coordinate a sort of a slipstream going down the main straight. I don't know if that was on purpose. I think it was, but Norris did have a tow from his teammate coming down the main straight. That obviously helped him out with his quali lap, and we'll see if that, if Norris returns the favour to Piastri once we get to Q3, or maybe even in the second runs of Q2. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, so we've had our first runs. The drivers in the elimination zone are Alex Albon, Oliver Behrman, Isaac Hadjar, Alonso, and Lawson. So the drivers making it through are Sainz and Gasly, actually. Yeah, Sainz and Gasly. And then, of course, the rest of the top 4 teams. And F1 game, a possible Merc domination. Also, Williams are looking very decent now. Comeback of the century if that happens. Yeah, Williams are looking really good. But, of course, with the new regulation change, who knows what happens there with them. Verstappen's just coming over the radio. Just check the front of the plank. I hit it quite hard on the exit of turn number 4 into 5. And they said they'll have a look. So Verstappen, yeah, is... Of course, when you lower the car down, it makes a lot more susceptible to being sort of made unstable by bouncing over the curbs and things like that. So Verstappen just informing the team of where he's hit the car on the circuit. Okay, Alex Albon is doing his final qualifying lap of Q2 here with clean air. And yeah, here he is going down into turn number 1. All right, Alex Albon looking really good. Going through now turn number 4, 5, and 6. He's managing to keep his foot pinned to the floor. He has to lift off a little bit going through turn number 7 and 8. But nonetheless, it is looking really good here for Alex Albon so far. He is on a fresh set of soft tyres, currently in 11th position. He is 3/10 back from his teammate. And yes, first sector's nice and quick. Okie dokes. Let's wait and see. Yeah, clean air, fresh, soft, grippier track. All advantages for Alex Albon here. Let's wait and see what he can do through the middle sector. Of course, he won't have any slipstream for any drivers ahead of him, but he also won't have any dirty air, won't have any traffic. So that should be good for him. And let's see now. He's only got turn number 22 and turn number 27. Those are the only real corners left. And he deals with those very nicely. And yeah, DRS is open as he makes his way down towards turn number 22 as Russell exits the pit lane. What's it going to be here for Alex Albon? Through the speed trap he goes, 329 kilometers per hour here for Alex Albon through the speed trap just before the final corner. Slams onto the brakes and hits that final apex very nicely, right up to the barriers. He's millimeters away from the barrier. Across the line he goes, and it's 6th place there for Alex Albon. Great lap, and about 4/10 of a second improvement on his previous one. So, brilliantly done. Okay, we've got Hamilton, Leclerc, everyone making their way out of the pit lane now. They're all crawling out of the pit lane at a super duper slow speed. And well, we'll see how it works out for them. Piastri going out first here again. Norris is still in the pit, so I don't know if that means that Piastri is giving Norris a tow again down the main straight, because normally, of course, the driver that goes first, he'll be giving the tow. So I don't know how that's working, but we'll keep an eye out on that and see if McLaren are giving Norris a tow again. Normally, the way that it works is either they switch it around every quali session. So Q1, Piastri gets a tow off Norris. Q2, Norris gets a tow off Piastri. Q3, it flips around. Or what they do is per race. So in the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, Norris will get the tow off Piastri. The following race in Miami, Piastri will get the tow off Norris. But we'll keep an eye out on that. Okay. Oh, and we got Max Verstappen just parked here in the pit lane. He's just, can't park there, mate. I don't know what you're doing, but you've just, yeah, he's crawling out of the pit lane at a snail's pace because he wants to cool down those tyres. That is the main thing. On the qualifying laps, you go through the first sector, it's extremely intense. You know, turn number 1, turn number 2, you got heavy braking there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All of those corners are extremely high lateral loading on the tyres, and they really wreck the tyres, essentially warm them up a lot, and because of that, the drivers want slightly lower track temperatures, tire temperatures when they're starting their flying laps. So when they are doing their when they're going through the first sector, their tires aren't overheating. That's the main thing for them. Yeah. Okie dokes. Okay, what else have we got going on here then? Russell is absolutely flying. Indeed he is. Look at that. He is 2/10 quicker than his teammate through the first sector, and we'll see what happens there. And Piastri's on a flying lap as well. Oh, Norris isn't coming out onto the circuit. Piastri's out on the circuit because he's doing another lap. Norris is just in the pits. So yeah, I don't know why I'm speculating about who's giving who a tow. Norris is just not coming out. Okie dokes, we got Lawson here starting a flying lap. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, they're also starting a flying lap. Gasly is starting one, and Russell is the first of the front runners to come across the line then. Gasly gets out of the way nicely, and George Russell goes now into turn number 27. What can he do? Gets a great exit out of that hairpin. Onto the power he goes, and here he comes. DRS flap is wide open. Currently in 4th position across the line. 3rd place for him. Is only a 10th back from his fellow Brit Lando Norris. Kimi Antonelli across the line, 5th place for him. The gap between Russell and Antonelli only 0.2 of a second. Maybe I was counting Antonelli out a little bit this weekend. I thought, it's Saudi Arabia, a very difficult circuit. Give the rookies a bit of an allowance, and maybe they won't be able to do so well. But Antonelli proving me wrong, and he's only 0.2 back from his teammate. Piastri improves, and he's within 64 milliseconds of Lando Norris. Look at that. The top 3 drivers within 1/10 of a second of each other. It is so close here, and I have no idea who's going to get pole position. It's honestly who can hook up the most perfect lap at the end of Q3. And if it's anyone that I have to bet on, I'm going to bet on Max Verstappen, because just looking at his lap from Suzuka, it was a mind-blowingly perfect lap, and I have a feeling that he might be able to do it again. Okay, we got Lawson across the line, 10th place for Lawson. Hamilton in the elimination zone here. Pressure is on. Charles Leclerc in 7th. Even if he doesn't improve on this lap, he should be good to go. Hamilton, however, is in 11th place. What's going to happen here? Leclerc improves up into 6th for him. Checkered flag is out. Hamilton across the line, and 8th place for Lewis Hamilton. 8th place. Okay, so he improves up into 8th. And then we have got Gasly currently in 13th. He improves. It's up into 8th place for him, pushing Hamilton down into 9th. This is getting risky here. Alonso is looking good on his flying lap. I don't know if it'll be enough to make it out into Q3, but if anyone can get that Aston Martin out of Q2, it is going to be Fernando Alonso across the line, 13th place. Unfortunately, not enough. And he's out on a used set of tyres. I don't know what he's doing. He's out on a used set. Aston Martin, what? Do you not have a fresh set of soft tyres? Sonoda across the line, 7th place for him. Hamilton is on the cusp of elimination here. Can anyone stop him? Lawson, unfortunately, he can't. And that is it. Hamilton just scrapes through by the finest of margins. Everyone has finished their qualifying laps. And Sonoda gets up into 7th place. And Hamilton also makes it through. Whoa, look at that. Look at the gap between Hamilton and Albon, ladies and gentlemen. It's 7 milliseconds. 7 milliseconds between Albon and Hamilton. And wow, that was surprisingly close. Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness me. So that has been Q2, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 28,000 people, 29,000 people tuning into the coverage. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Let me just put a timer up on the screen for when Q3 is going to start. It's going to start in 5 minutes time. Well, let me just put it up on the screen, and then I won't have to answer any more questions about when it's starting. Here we go. All right, yeah, 6 minutes till we get underway for Q3. So just hang in there, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get underway for Q3 as well. Aston are honestly shocking with their tyre choice. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, unless he did 2 consecutive flying laps, I didn't notice he did, because yeah, that makes no sense, because he came out right at the end of the session anyway. Like, Albon was doing his flying laps a bit earlier out in the session, so if he did 2 flying laps, that would make sense. But Alonso doing 2 flying laps doesn't make any sense. And they should have just they knew that it was going to be very, very close. The margins were going to be very small. So why do the risk of doing 2 flying laps? Just put one lap worth of fuel in the car and put him out on a fresh set of tyres. So yeah, don't know what's going on there with Aston. Everyone else who got eliminated, in fact, look at this. Everyone up on the screen, apart from Verstappen and Piastri, who are significantly clear of everyone else, like they're not getting eliminated. They did their laps on used sets, but apart from that, everyone else is out on a fresh set. So I have no idea what Aston Martin are doing. Yeah, clearly Adrian Newey can't fix that. You know, Adrian Newey's. Oh, I didn't know why it says Q3i. Let me fix that. Didn't notice. Oops. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Okie dokes. F1 Gamer, can they do back-to-back flying laps? They cannot do back-to-back flying laps. Their battery will run out. The battery's designed to, they deploy all of the battery over the course of one flying lap, and then they'll be on low battery at the end of one lap, so they can't do back-to-back laps. Alonso isn't allowed to finish too far ahead of Stroll. Yeah, maybe. But I don't know what they're trying to do. If they're hiring Max Verstappen, then if they're going to fire Alonso and hire Max Verstappen, then I don't think Verstappen's going to listen to that, any sort of rules like that. All right, let's update the fastest lap counter. I think it was just, who was it? I think Verstappen, Piastri at the start was the quickest, then it was Verstappen, and then it was Norris. So I'm going to add 1 to everyone's counter. Norris with Verstappen with 2, Norris with 3, and Piastri with 2. All right. So yeah. Also, ladies and gents, last year's pole time was a 1:27.4. So if Lando Norris put this lap in last year, he would have got pole position. But right now, I think the times are going to tumble a little bit more as well. Because, yeah, we may dip down into the 126s, but it's going to require a mega sensational lap to get down to the 126s. If we had a lower track temperature, say 32 degrees instead of 37, maybe we could see 126s, but with a warmer temperature, it might be a little bit difficult. Okay. Also, I'll take you through a lap of the circuit once again, and just show you where all the key things are, where the drivers need to gain all the time, and just before I do that, just do have to mention I'm sponsored by Surfshark VPN. If you guys want to watch all of the coverage for Formula 1, I'm sure a lot of you do, since you're watching the stream here, and you want to get all of the onboards, like the actual footage with all of the commentary, then you get Surfshark VPN, and you download it onto your computer, your phone. Click the Austrian server and search ORF. And make an account and log in, and then you can watch Formula 1 there. It will be German commentary, so you got to mute the commentary, listen to my commentary with the actual footage, but you do get all of the footage for only $2 a month rather than $20 and $30 a month with F1 TV Pro. So yeah, just have to mention that because I'm sponsored by them, but I'm going to continue on with the coverage. So we've got this is a quali lap here of Bahrain. It's not Bahrain, sorry, Saudi Arabia. It's not the best quali lap here. It probably wouldn't have even put me top 1% of the leaderboard, but we're going to continue on with it. You make your way down the start-finish straight, you open your DRS, you go up into 8th gear, 320 kilometers per hour, 200 miles per hour as you go down the main straight, slam onto the brakes on the 100-meter mark, over the curbs of turn number 1 and 2. Stay within track limits here. You don't want to get a lap time deleted like Bortoletto did in Q1. Then you go towards turn number 4 here. The tyres are really going to overheat through here. You're going through here. You're holding it flat as much as you possibly can, but the car is right on the limit. And if you make the slightest of mistakes, there's a little bit of instability in the car. You have to back off, and that's it. Your lap's ruined. So we'll see what happens here, but you make your way towards now turn number 13, and this is fourth gear or 5th gear corner, and you just want to carry as much speed as you possibly can. It's a very, very long corner, so you should carry as much speed as possible. And then you go towards turn number 16 now, where you tap on the brakes, flick the car to the right, and then steer left. It's a right-left chicane, and just continue on here. You've got DRS through this part of the circuit. It's a little bit windy for DRS, but it's straight enough. The FIA have said it's safe. And you now go towards turn number 22, flick the car left, then you flick it right. And then you've got the final DRS zone of the circuit, the third DRS zone. We've seen a lot of games here in 2021 where the drivers braking before one another to try and get DRS going down the next main straight, but that has been removed. The detection point has been changed, so no more DRS games. And onto the power you go. You don't crash into the inside wall like Yuki. You don't crash into the outside wall like Max in 2021. You just go onto the power, millimeters away from the barrier, across the line, and that is a lap of the Jeddah Street Circuit. We've got 20 minutes to the start of Q3, and well, we have got a very exciting Q3 session for ahead of us, ladies and gents. The gaps between first, second, and third were within a tenth of a second at the end of Q2. I mean, it cannot get any closer than that. Apart from, okay, the closer it theoretically could get is everyone being on the same lap time, but I don't think that's going to happen, let's be honest. So I'm going to turn off this fastest lap counter. We've got a green light at the end of the pit lane here, and everyone is playing the waiting game. They're all staring at each other, and they're all like, should we go onto the circuit? Should we not? Should we go onto the circuit? Should we not? And the first car and the first team to bite the bullet is the McLaren. Oscar Piastri leading the way out of the pit lane. We have got 12 minutes left of this qualifying session. Let's wait and see who is getting pole position. Let me know your predictions in the chat. Let's wait and see who is going to get it. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. It'd be lovely to hit 147k subscribers today. That puts us on track to hitting 200k by the end of the season. And if you haven't hit the like button, then be sure to do that as well. We've got 25,000 people watching. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. Yeah, we're going to have a fantastic race tomorrow. We're going to have 2 pit stops guaranteed pretty much. We're going to have so much action with the 3 DRS zones, and with the drivers being this close to each other, I suspect we might even have a Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri inter-team battle, and the team radios are going to get so spicy on that one. I mean, I'm just waiting for Norris and Piastri to start complaining over the radio about each other. I cannot wait for a Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton style championship battle. That would be fantastic. Okay, so here we go then. We have got Oscar Piastri just going through the middle sector here, and he's going towards turn number 27 to start his flying lap. We got Piastri, then Russell, then Antonelli, then Sainz, then Leclerc, then Norris, then Hamilton, then we've got Gasly, then we've got Verstappen, and then we have got Tsunoda. Those are our top 10, and let's see here, ladies and gents. Okie dokes. 26,000, 27,000 people tuned into the stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys around for the race tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely mega. So here we go then. Oscar Piastri starts his flying lap, going through turn number 1, 2, and 3. He is so smooth on the power and millimeters away from the barrier. Going through turn number 4, 5, and 6. That McLaren looks absolutely planted, and there's a bit of traffic in the way, but that gets out of the way nicely. And let's see what Oscar Piastri can do now. Okie dokes. And we got Russell and Antonelli starting flying laps behind him as well. Purple in the first sector, 31.8 in the first sector. Not the quickest first sector that we have seen, really. The quickest one that we've seen is a 31.71 or something. So still a tenth slower. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. The margins are very, very small here. Okay, Norris starts his flying lap, and we've got Hamilton, Gasly, Verstappen, and Tsunoda also starting theirs. Okay, so here comes Piastri then through the middle sector, looking good, 27.6, and he's just now got the final corner left to go. Let's wait and see what he can do. Russell comes over the radio saying, check the floor. He's purple in the middle sector. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Lando Norris, no. What's going on here? There's a yellow flag, red flag. Lando Norris has binned it into the barriers, I think. I haven't got confirmation, but he's the only driver that stopped on the circuit. And Lando Norris facing the wrong direction. Oscar Piastri sticks it in first position, 27.5. His teammate is out of the session and out of qualifying. Oh, no, 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 for Lando Norris. His rear left suspension is broken. His rear left tyre is punctured. He's not going to be taking part for the rest of qualifying. Zach Brown looks utterly disappointed, and so does the entire McLaren pit wall. But Piastri's up in provisional pole. Lando Norris is out of this qualifying session. We're going to get the replay very, very soon. Let me just describe it for you. He is going through turn number 1, 2, and 3. He makes it very, very nicely through there. Now going towards turn number 4, goes through turn number 4 and spins the car. And is right. I'll show you the crash. I'll show you the crash where he crashed. So this is the onboard here. Let me just speed it up a little bit. Yeah, this we're getting to the right part of the track here. So Norris is going through this part of the track, and this is the corner. Turn number 4 here. He hits the apex very, very nicely here, but he gets onto the curb, and this curb spins him around. He goes off to the barriers onto the left-hand side. So that's where he had crashed. He'd crashed, let's say, probably right about... Oh, actually, I need to go back a little bit. Let me pause it at the right place. So he goes through turn number 4, over the curb he goes, and that's about where he loses it over the curbs and into the barriers he goes. So that's where Lando Norris lost the car, and that is very, very unfortunate for his qualifying session. Front left suspension, rear left suspension, both damaged, and there's no way they're going to be able to repair that in time for the end of quali. The marshals have, the medical car's gone out, and it's going to pick Lando Norris up, take him back to the pit lane. He's totally fine. It wasn't a big impact whatsoever, but they're going to now have to put his car up on a lorry, and we're going to have to restart Q2 in a second. You know, as some people may say, Lando has maybe just bottled it here. It might sooner or later we may have to start calling it Lando Bottle Norris. I'm not going to be particularly harsh here. You know, it's one mistake that he has made, and this circuit is notoriously difficult. If it was a rookie that made the mistake, it would be like, oh, it's a rookie. Don't give him too much flack about it. But it is Lando Norris. He's potentially in the championship fight. He's first in the championship as of now. You kind of do have to give him flack for it. And yeah, it's not a great look, is it? But I'm sure Piastri will be happy about that. Piastri will be over the moon, and Max Verstappen will be as well, because, yeah, if Lando Norris does start slightly further back, one thing we know for certain is that the McLarens are not good at overtaking. They're not good in dirty air, and they have not got their top speed upgrade package on the car. They haven't even got a top speed package. Essentially, they're running slightly higher downforce compared to everyone else. They're not so quick down the straights, which means that Norris will have to start probably from 10th position, and he will have to overtake a bunch of drivers if he wants to make it onto the podium. He's going to have to do a lot of overtaking. We do have 3 DRS zones here, which should make it easier, but nonetheless, the McLaren isn't so great in the dirty air, so we'll see how he does. Okay. I don't know, unfortunately, when the session is going to restart. I'm going to have to wait for a message from race control, so we're just going to have to hang in here, ladies and gents. It's not going to be long whatsoever, but yeah, I do have to wait for race control to say when the session's restarting. All right. What else should we talk about? I don't know. There's not much else, is it really? They've picked the car up on the crane now, so we should be getting underway very, very soon. Probably I'm gonna have a guess myself, and it'll probably be 4 or 5 minutes before we get underway. Yeah. Let me stick it up on the screen. We've got a couple of people asking in the chat what's happened. I'm just going to put Norris has crashed. Yeah, in the same way that Tsunoda crashed at the end of the final corner, Norris has crashed at the exit of turn number 4. Okay. One chance left to qualify? Yeah, with 8 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, it's pretty unlikely that we're going to be seeing 2 flying laps from these drivers. it's most likely just going to be one flying lap now, especially because, as you can see, Antonelli, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, and Hamilton, they were all out on used sets of tyres. So they could maybe do another lap on those used sets, but it's going to be very, very tight, especially because this circuit is 1 minute 30 for the entire loop. So you do an out lap, which is say 1 minute 30, probably a bit longer because you don't want to overheat your tyres. Then you do your actual flying lap, which is 1 minute 30. Then you do your in lap, which you can do kind of quickly in say 1 minute 40, but that's not going to give you enough time to come back into the pits, refuel the car, put on a fresh set of tyres, and then make your way back out again. So who knows? Okay. So it looks like it's just going to be one run for the drivers. One run, one opportunity to get pole position. Yeah, they're having a look at Oscar Piastri's time here. Oscar Piastri apparently crossed the line when the red flags were out. I'm not 100% certain, but he was purple in the final sector, as you guys could see. And the yellow flag was waving, but the yellow flag was waving, when Lando Norris had crashed at that part of the circuit. And then Piastri came across the line, and I don't know when the red flag got deployed compared to when Piastri came across the line. So Piastri was coming across the start-finish line, and it was yellow. Yeah, it's flashing yellow, I think. And then I think it switches to red. Yeah, I'm not sure when it switches to red, but they're just having a look at it now. I think it'll still be fine. And either way, it doesn't matter because Piastri is still going to have another opportunity to do a lap, so it doesn't particularly matter. All right. What's your favourite Seb Vettel pole? I'm going to have to go with 2019 Suzuka when he got pole position. After, I think it was there was a, what's it called? A typhoon. Yeah, there was a super typhoon on the Saturday, and Vettel managed to get pole on Sunday morning qualifying. So yeah, I'm going to go with my favourite Seb Vettel pole was that one, but... yeah, let's get back to this qualifying session. And yeah, we've got a couple more minutes till we get underway. Still no message from race control. Normally race control is going to say in 1 minute's time or 2 minutes time, so not long now. Okay. Okie dokes. What else have we got to talk about? Oh yeah, I just have to mention once again, Surfshark VPN. If you guys do want to get all of the footage for track clear DRS has been enabled. So yeah, not long now till we get underway. The red flag has been removed. The track is clear. It's just the pit lane has got to be opened, and then the session will restart. And what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Surfshark VPN. If you guys are interested with all of the coverage, all of the footage, you can actually watch the full Formula One broadcast, $2 a month, a lot cheaper than, of course, F1 TV Pro, ESPN, Sky Sports, KO Sports, whatever it is in your respective region. So yeah, go ahead, get Surfshark VPN, join the Austrian VPN server, and then search up ORF. O for Oscar, R for Race, F for Ferrari, and you can get the F1 footage there. Okie dokes, 8 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock when the session does restart. We've got a message from race control. Session is restarting in 1 minute's time, so I'm not even going to put a timer up. 1 minute till we get underway for the session again. And yeah, here we go then. Okie dokes. All right, then the driver's already lining up at the end of the pit lane. We've got Lando Norris lining up. Sorry, not Lando Norris. We've got Max Verstappen lining up and Piastri lining up. And yeah, we're about to get the thumbs up from race control for the green light at the end of the pit lane. Okie dokes. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. We're 75 subscribers away from our target. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. I'd love to hit 200k by the end of the season. So yeah, well, 147k is the target for today. If we can hit that, then we'll be underway. Yeah, we'll be on our way towards 200 by the end of the season. All right, Verstappen, as he saw Norris crash, they said, is he okay? And yeah, and then they communicated to Verstappen, they said, yeah, he's just come over the radio, he should be okay. And they come over the radio to Piastri saying Norris is in the wall, and Piastri asks, is he all right? And they said, yeah, and they say he is okay. So yeah, Both drivers, both championship rivals asking if Norris is fine, which is good to hear. And here we go then. 8 minutes left on the clock. The timer is ticking and we'll be getting underway for Q3. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think it's going to be? Now, previously we had Piastri versus Norris versus Verstappen versus Russell. Now, Norris is no longer in the equation. Who is going to get pole position? Is it going to be Norris? Is it going to be Piastri? Is it going to be George Russell? Either one of these three drivers could put together a mega lap and could score pole position. But yeah, it's up to you guys to decide. Who do you think it's going to be? I think Max is out. Is he out on a fresh set? No, Max is out on his used set of tyres. So the tyres that he was doing his first Q3 run in. So I think Verstappen is going to do another run there. It's going to be quite tight, really. But I think Verstappen's still going to do 2 runs here in Q3. A couple of the other drivers, they're still sat in the pit lane. It looks like they're just doing 1 run. But Verstappen, Gasly and Sainz have clearly opted to do 2 runs here. And as you can see, Sainz and Gasly, they've both got, they're both on used tyres as well. So for certain, they're going to be doing another run because they're not going to do their final Q3 run on a used set of tyres. They're definitely doing it on a fresh set. Okay. And yeah, the Mercedes engineers just waiting now for the thumbs up for Antonelli and for Russell. We've got 7 cars in the, well, we've got 6 cars in the pit lane, 1 car stranded out on the circuit and 3 cars on the track. Let's go on board here with Carlos Sainz, Gasly and Verstappen. These 3 drivers are on their flying laps now. Let's see what they can do. Sainz, unfortunately, not improving on his previous lap times. And of course, this is critical here. If you don't get a tyre warm-up correctly, if you're kind of rushing both laps, then you could really compromise your session. I think Sainz, if he isn't doing so great in the first sector, which he isn't actually, he's actually quite a bit down on Piastri's first sector. He actually keeps up with Gasly reasonably enough. So I don't know. But if Sainz doesn't improve in his first sector and doesn't do well in his lap overall, then it might be a good idea to just come into the pits early, because you don't want to compromise your final run, really. Verstappen purple in the first sector. Let's wait and see. Oh my god, great lap here from Verstappen so far, and let's see if he can fight for pole position. Piastri sets a lap time of a 1:27.5. Last year's pole time a 1:27.4. So last year Max in that dominant Red Bull, at least for the first half of the season, set a 1:27.4. With a whole year of upgrades, the car isn't setting a much quicker lap time. That's mainly because track temperature is slightly higher than what it was last year. Sainz across the line, 2nd place for him. We've got Gasly in 8th position. Let's see what he can do. Verstappen, though, is absolutely flying. Out of the final corner he comes. Gasly goes into the pits. Gasly's just aborted his lap, and Verstappen across the line. Oh my god, 1 millisecond! 1 millisecond is the gap between Verstappen and Piastri. I said at the start of Q3, it can't get any closer. It absolutely can. And the gap between the 2 drivers is 1 millisecond. Wow! Oh my goodness me. Whoa. Okay. Well, Verstappen has now got to drive his in-lap ASAP. He's got to go maximum attack here. His battery will be depleted, but he's got to get right back into the pits, get a refuel, get a fresh set of tyres, and then head his way back out onto the circuit. Otherwise, he's going to compromise his second run. He's not got long left on the clock, so he's got to pick up the pace here. And same thing for Sainz. Both drivers got to get back into the pits ASAP. Otherwise, they're not going to have another run left in Q3. Here we go then. Let's see what Piastri can do. Piastri's still got another lap left, so is Verstappen, and we'll see if George Russell can come into the mix as well now. All right. Very, very close here for the drivers. And Verstappen just touched the wall on the exit of turn number 27, the final corner, and Verstappen just tapped the wall, kissed the wall there. And actually, did he? I don't know. He was so close that you can't really tell if he did or if he didn't. But as you can see, Verstappen pushing that car to the absolute limit. Okay, yeah, here we go then. No, it wasn't particularly big damage, he just tapped it ever so slightly. And he says very low grip in turn number 1. That's probably just because his tyres weren't ready. And yeah, in fact, that's what his engineer says over the radio. Yep, understood, the tyres weren't ready. And that's the thing. He compromised his run, really, because his tyres weren't in the correct temperature window, because he had to quickly do his outlap, then quickly do his inlap. So there was a bit of pressure on there, but he manages to make his way out. We've got 2 minutes, 47 seconds left on the clock. Verstappen already back out onto the circuit, fresh set of tyres. Same thing for Piastri, same thing for Sainz. And we have got every single driver out onto the track now, apart from Lando Norris, of course. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's wait and see. Okay, so here we go then. Right, Yuki is on a flying lap. Russell purple in the first sector. Oh my goodness me. 31.6. That's the first sector time that we've seen in the 31.6. Everything else has been 31.7. Now it's down in 31.6. Emil Nielsen. I think if you try using an incognito tab, that should probably fix it. Yeah. That's probably the issue there. All right, so we have got Russell, yellow in the second sector, not ideal there for George Russell. In fact, he's still quicker than his teammate through the middle sector, but nonetheless, this is his final run. Let's see what George Russell can do. Mr. Saturday himself. This is one of the hardest circuits to qualify at. George Russell pushing the car to the absolute limit. He comes out of the final corner, right onto the power. He goes up into 8th gear. The DRS is wide open, currently in 5th position. Across the line he goes. It's provisional pole position for George Russell, a 10th and a half ahead of Max Verstappen. What a lap from George. Oh my goodness me. All right, Tsunoda and Verstappen are starting lap. Tsunoda's giving Verstappen a tow. Red Bull are working together here, and they've timed this one to perfection. Verstappen gets a tow off Tsunoda as they go towards turn number 1. Very nicely done. Piastri, though, he's purple in the first sector. Oh, this is getting very spicy. Piastri purple in the first sector. Verstappen gets a tow off his teammate, and George Russell is on provisional pole. Carlos Sainz comes across the line. It's 6th place for him. He's starting his flying lap. We got Leclerc and Hamilton on their final runs as well. Here comes Charles Leclerc, currently in 8th position. He's got a couple of purple mini sectors to his name. 4th position for him. Lewis Hamilton, he's been struggling all weekend, all season long. Can he get close to his teammate? Yes, he can. Actually, no, he's about 6/10 back. Never mind. Pierre Gasly up into 8th position there. He's 9/10 back from George Russell's time. We've got Oscar Piastri through the middle sector. He doesn't improve. Oh no, this could spell trouble for him. Here he comes across the finish line. What's it going to be for Oscar Piastri? He still manages to go a 10th ahead of George Russell. Oh my goodness me. But Verstappen is now 1/10 up in the first sector. He's 1/10 down in the second sector. All hope remains now on the final sector. If Verstappen can go quicker than Piastri in the final sector, he gets pole position. If he can't, then that is it. Game over for Max Verstappen. Here he comes. This is the final drive to come across the line. What is it going to be for Max? Out of the final corner he comes, onto the power, up into 8th gear. The Honda has kicked in the VTEC mode, across the line, and it's pole position for Max by 10 milliseconds. What a lap from Max. Time and time again, he delivers, and he's put it on pole here in Saudi Arabia. Wow. Oh my goodness me. And he's just done his performance at Japan all over again. At Japan, he hooked together the perfect lap to bring the Red Bull that was second fastest up onto pole, and he's just done it again. Oh my goodness me. Wow. 33,000 people tuned in. That has been an amazing lap here from Max. That's pole position, and Max Verstappen says simply lovely over the radio. It's worked fantastically, and what a pole position this has been. And honestly, look at the gap between Max and Piastri. We are going to have an amazing race here tomorrow. McLarens do have a bit of a race pace advantage, so Max versus Piastri going into turn number 1, going through lap number 1 through to 50. We're going to have some fantastic battling here, ladies and gents. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, if you guys want to get the coverage, watch the battle between Verstappen and Piastri on screen. Then Surfshark VPN is the place to go. There's a link in the description. But wow. Okay, so yeah, we're going to have a fantastic race tomorrow. The race will start, so in wherever it is now in the world, if you go back 1 hour or 1 hour and 15 minutes, that's when the race starts tomorrow. So, you know, set your alarm, set your reminders, and I will see you then. So yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. It's been an amazing qualifying session, I must say, and we're going to have an even better race tomorrow. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'm going to take you over to the race stream tomorrow. If you could hit the like button, if you could hit the reminder button, that would very much be appreciated. It really does help out the channel. Thanks VTOC for the donation. Thank you for streaming every race. Greetings from California. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so yeah, if you guys could hit the like button, the reminder button, you get a notification once the stream starts. And yeah, that has been the qualifier session here in Saudi Arabia. Wow, what a session it has been. We're gonna have a fantastic race tomorrow. Hope to see all of you guys here for the race start. It's gonna be absolutely mega down into turn number 1. All right, so yeah, that's it. Hit the like button for tomorrow's stream, hit the reminder button, and if you're interested in Surfshark VPN, go ahead and check it out. I'll see you guys later for the race tomorrow. Bye-bye.